When I was 16, then I'm from Reading, Pennsylvania. Lenny's from Reading, Pennsylvania. That's where Lenny saw me playing up there, and he brought me to Baltimore.
Okay.
So when I was 16, I was picked up by a guy who's a kind of famous saxophone player in that area. His name was Frankie Scott. And he had like a little trio, so he wanted to play organ for him. So I was only like 16 years old. You know, they made me grow a mustache or whatever I could. And he was like, yeah. He sort of like took care of me, he'd pick me up from my home and take me to, we played like around Harrisburg, like all the area up around that part of Pennsylvania. And then I would go on Saturdays to a club in Reading was called the Grand Hotel. And they would bring groups from like Philadelphia, Delaware, New Jersey, all organ groups. So I would jam, like kind of jams, like a Saturday just a session. That was a jam session, but I would sit out. They had a door in the back of the club, and I would sit out there, and they'd open it up because it was hot in the club, And so, and I'd listen to the music, right? Yeah. So then afterwards, like Jim Rickford played there, Charles Earlman played there, all different organ players. And so then they would come on the breaks. They'd come out the back door, and they sit and talk, and they talk to me and this and that. So they said, well, why don't you just come in, we'll put a chair for you, right at the door there, So they set up a chair for me, and so I used to go down there, and kind of the owner of the club knew me a little bit. So they let me sit down in the corner of the club, and I could watch the organ player, and I'm just trying to learn more and more, So at that time, that's the only way you learn, by watching. Yeah. So then, they let me sit in periodically, and then it became sort of a habit. Every time they saw me, they let me sit in, which was good. I enjoyed that. I got to play with different people, musicians, And so then it just so happened that one day I was sitting in, and Lenny was in the audience. And so then Lenny saw me play, and Lenny was, he just loves organ music. He loves organ music. So he calls me to the side, and he says, come on outside. He said, he had a Thunderbird at the time, he had an 8-track in there. So he put on some Jimmy Smith, he started playing, he said, look, and he said, look, I'm going to having an affair up here in Reading in about a month, and I would like you to play for my affair. That was the year that he scored 20 touchdowns, I think, one year. He was the first NFL player to do that, I think. So they were honoring him up in Reading, so I said, okay, I'll play it. So I played the affair, and then he said, well, look, I want to keep in touch with you. I said, okay. So he said, I'm opening up a club, which was the Sportsman's Lounge. I think it was called Club 24 when he opened it up. It was really nice at that time, it was a dinner club, it was black tie, you had to wear a coat, and they served steaks, and he got a B3 for me, have a B3 organ to play, so. Well, before that happened, he said, I want you to come to Baltimore, and I'm going to take you around different clubs, So he said, ask your mother if she let you come. So, anyways, so he invites me and my mother down, right? I'm the only child. I was the only child, right? So he said, well, I'll get a hotel for you. Come down here. He said, I'm going to take you out to different clubs. I forget the name of the clubs. About 4 of them he took me to at the time, right? And then he introduced me to a lot of musicians who I know now today for a long, long time, like Harold Adams, you know, Major Boyd. And anyways, he took me to all the different clubs, and I sat in, you know. And then he said, look, I'm going to open up a club, and I want you to come down on weekends to play. So he came up and sat down with my mother and father. And he said, look, he said, I would like Greg to come down and play in my club. And so they agreed. So anyways, I would go down on Fridays and come back on Sundays, because I was going to college in Pennsylvania at the time. I was just ready for first year of college. And so I leave Reading, to catch a train from Reading, and I wrote a tune about this. We'll play it. The station is 7th and Franklin. I left that, got that train, got to Philadelphia, then I had to get a hack to another station. I didn't know that wasn't the time. Just get out there and say, where you want to go? Picking up everybody. Yeah, 30th Street, right? Okay, so I get on the train there, come down to the station, let me be there, pick me up, take me to the club, and he bought me, went to the club, and he bought me some suits, right? So I changed, come out, and then he got the musicians ready for me, and I played Friday, and then I stayed at his house Saturday, and then I stayed there again Saturday night, you know, and then Sunday, sometimes his relatives would come down from Reading, and so they would take me home. Or if they didn't come down with the football game, if they didn't come down, then he would put me on a bus at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd take a bus to Harrisburg, and my grandfather would come pick me up, because my father had a restaurant in Reading, so he opened the restaurant early in the morning, so my grandfather also worked there. So they pick me up and bring me home. I get like 3 hours sleep, and then have to drive to go to college again, you know? So it was like, I did that for about 2 years, and then, matter of fact, 2 of Lenny's daughters are here tonight. They're my sisters. Who I know since they were, but one wasn't even born yet. I remember. Anyway, so where was I? Oh, yeah. Alzheimer's. So, anyways, eventually Lenny's wife, Frankie, at the time, she helped me get an audition at Peabody Conservatory. And so I was trying to, I wanted to go to music school. I wasn't going to music school at the time. So I was able to get an audition, and I was accepted in Peabody. So then I spent about the last 4 years, I lived with Lenny for about 4 years. Yeah. And Lenny took me all different places, played different places, Washington, everything. He helped me get my first record deal. We were on the Mike Douglas show together at the time. We did a lot of things, you know. So that's pretty much my story.